So, Gaura, please share with us the secret of operating from this beautiful island of the heart, one of the 9 islands of the heart, this island of Kirtanam. Since most of you may not know Gauravani, he is the heart master, the heart. He is the personification of the heart in this world. He is dedicated his life to Kirtanam from a very young age, growing up in India. Imagine that. And he has then taken this message of Kirtan, which is a very beautiful island of the heart, all over the world. And he is extremely dear to my heart. And I just cause him a lot of grief in his heart.
She said that it's the same thing. If you're cooking for Krishna, if you're chanting japa, if you're doing kirtan, that it's bringing the sweetness, that you have to do it with sweetness.
Right.
And she was laughing. And then immediately she dove back into the seva. And one thing that I always appreciate about her is that she's never stressed out. She's never in a rush. Like, she had time to talk to me, even though she's making 600 kachoris. And I'm totally stressed out that I'm like not helping her right now. She's like doing this big festival, second day festival. She's not stressed out though. She had time to talk to me, but at the same time, she's not relaxing either. She immediately stopped what she was saying and said, make the balls a little smaller. Like, she's right in there. You know what I mean? Like, she's not chilling, but she's not stressing, you know, somehow or other. She's like right in the sweet spot. We were listening to some stories of Krishna. Well, first, let me say, so she's saying even making kachoris is kirtan. Everything is kirtan if it's done with the right consciousness, right? So I'm going to talk for a little bit about things that have nothing to do with kirtan. And you guys are going to be like, what? Why is he talking about this? But it's like, you know, it's all kirtan if it's done with the right mood. So we were listening to this one story of Krishna yesterday was Krishna's birthday. Many of you guys know. And, you know, just like we like when our friends gather on our birthday, Krishna also likes it when his friends gather on his birthday. And he likes it when they tell funny stories, embarrassing stories about him, you know. All these things in bhakti, it's understood that all of the nature that we have, it comes from a source. Srila Prabhupada, he used to say, when have we seen that life does not come from life, right? In modern paradigm of existence, we have this idea that life came from a random glob of chemicals that happened for some random reason. There was an explosion and suddenly your chemicals became life. But in the Vedic view, life comes from life. So all of our qualities, we trace them back to the source of our very own personhood, which is Sri Krishna. So someone would say, no, but that's just, you know, the autorhythmic fibers in the heart. And Prabhupada would say, well, where does that come from? And they say, well, that comes from the man and the woman come together creating a seed. And Prabhupada would say, well, where does that come from? Like, just where, and where does the Big Bang come from? Where does any of it come from? You know, at some point you have to recognize that it came from some place before that. I heard once this conversation between these two heavyweight scientists, and they were pushing back further and further into the universe, trying to understand, well, what's before that, and what's before that, and what's before that? And they got to this place where, how is it possible that could have happened? And one of them said, maybe there's a race of beings in another universe that somehow or other, you know, it's like, okay, whatever, you know, like, take it as far back as you want to go, but that's Krishna, right? And there's this movie. Any of you guys ever watch movies? Like a comic book movies, like Marvel movies? Anyone ever seen a Marvel movie? One of the like comic book, we got the college kids. So there's a Marvel movie called Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, have you seen that? He's got a cape and he's got these magic powers and he's Benedict Cumberbatch, is that who it is?
Gauravani,
and he's like, yeah.
Gauravani Prabhu knows a lot about movies because he actually spent quite some years in Hollywood. He was actually a movie actor. If you watch some of the old movies with Denzel Washington, you will see Gauravani there. He is one of the characters. So that's why he knows a lot about movies, in case you guys are wondering. How does he know so much about movies? That was
Uh,
that was in his previous birth that he just gave it all up to just immerse himself into the kirtan. Go ahead, carry on.
yes, someday we'll have to tell the stories, origin stories of our bhakti. You know, even though people like Veda and myself from a young age, we've been immersed in the practice of bhakti, we still, each of us still has that moment where we have to choose to be a devotee of Krishna. It's not, it can't only be immersion. It has to actually be a heart choice. So yeah, that's part of my story. So anyway, I was having a low point in my bhakti faith when I went to the movie theater to watch Doctor Strange. You guys with me? Have I lost any of you yet? Everyone with me? It's okay. We've got a devotee going to the movies to watch Doctor Strange. We're in this? Okay. And I was just thinking, you know, like, what do I know? What do I have faith in? You know, the universe is, you know, so confusing. Who am I and what am I and what's the point and what do I know? And these people say that and these people say that. You know, it's a constant dialogue. So in the middle of this movie, Benedict Cumberbatch, I don't even need to get into the movie, it doesn't really matter. He meets this guru in to Nepal or something like that. And this lady gives him this blessing to see the universe with like divine eyes, which is like what happens to Krishna. I mean, it's basically, they pulled it from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. You know, Krishna says, I'm going to give you divine eyes to see. So suddenly Arjuna is seeing the universal form. So on this massive screen in this theater, I'm watching this like artist's representation of the vastness of the universe. And I was watching this and I was just thinking, all of this came from inside one person's brain. Right? This isn't the vastness of the universe. This is just one person's meditation on the vastness of the universe. And each person would have a different meditation on the vastness of the universe. I mean, you got to see the scene. It's like worth watching the movie just to get this scene of his like meditation on the vastness of the universe. And it's just like, I was sitting there thinking, this vast universe that I'm witnessing is the internal universe of one human. And that internal universe is so vast. And the external universe is so vast. And it's just like the vastness of the whole thing struck me as just like the vastness of both our internal and external spaces, including our imagination. And I just thought, in the vastness of all of that, somehow or other, I'm a conscious being questioning and witnessing. That is a frickin' joke. That is a miracle. How is it possible that in all the vastness of everything, I exist? Actually, it's impossible. I really shouldn't exist. This is ridiculous. The fact that everything is this wild, and I'm a person in this weird little universe in this space witnessing, it's inconceivable. Totally inconceivable. And in that moment, I thought, just as inconceivable as Krishna being a conscious person. It's totally inconceivable. How is that possible? That in the vastness of everything, God is a person? But if I'm a person, how is it possible that there cannot also be another person out there who is the source? It's like, well, it's this inconceivable, sure. In the vastness of all time and all space, yes, it's possible that these energies behind everything that I'm witnessing could possibly be a loving person, just like I'm a loving person. It's inconceivable, yet possible. And in that moment, it just came to me like a spark in my heart. I just thought, in the vast improbability of mathematical existence, if even there's a tiny sliver of possibility that that person could exist, that is Krishna, and that is who I worship. So in that way, we understand that Krishna is our eternal loving friend beyond time and beyond space. And just like all these details of my life endear my friends to me, Veda's, yeah, he's going to try and like blow me up here in front of you guys that I'm, he's a Hollywood, it's true, there's whatever. But he's doing it, to kind of like make me feel important and, like make you guys think he's got like these awesome guests on the show or whatever. But at the same time, Veda's also doing it because he's my friend and he wants to encourage me. And so he's telling me this thing he knows about me as a way of expressing his love to his friends. Say, I remember this about you. I remember that about you. And it makes me feel loved. So that's part of how we react and interact with Krishna. Yesterday's Krishna's birthday, so we make food that he likes and we sing songs that he likes and we put a silly hat on his head and we dress him up and we have all the friends come and have a big party. And why shouldn't it be the biggest party that the earth has ever thrown? And Kirtan is a big part of that festival. Sometimes when we have a materialistic consciousness, it means we see things with envy, we see things with greed, we see things with selfishness. And we think, yeah, but why should he be God? Why not me? Why doesn't the world revolve around me? Why isn't everyone celebrating me? Why aren't they singing songs about me? Why don't they dance and chant my name? Why don't they make my favorite food, right? In that kind of consciousness, we co-create this reality that we're existing in with Krishna. Politics, anger, resentment, endless war, famine. This is something we've co-created with that consciousness. And just like a teenager, teenager looks at his father and says, I don't need you, you big jerk. What have you done for me? And then he gets in the car that his dad bought for him and drives away. Right. I don't need you. And as soon as I get a chance, I'll pay you back for this car. I don't need you in your stupid car. But since I don't have another one, I'm going to take it. So that's the kind of mood that we have to pull ourselves out of and into the adulthood of gratitude and of appreciation. And actually, the safest space to be in the universe is a loving servant of the divine, not in the center, but somewhere on the periphery, where our only job is to serve those who are serving those, who are serving those, who are serving those, who are serving those, who are serving Radha and Krishna. And then we're totally safe, free from stress. So, a big part of Kirtan is just expressing that gratitude in song. I find for myself that whenever I sing, I turn my body into an instrument. And when my body becomes an instrument, it's easier to remember that I am not breathing, but I am being breathed. I am being played by a higher consciousness, a higher power. That as a musician, the inspiration I have for some song or some musical trill, it comes through me. I didn't create it. I don't even know how to create it. I don't even understand how music works. But it's coming, and that place. William Blake. William Blake is a famous American spiritual poet from the late 1800s, I believe, maybe earlier than that. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. William Blake, he says, inspiration and creativity are like fingerprints of the divine. You can see something higher than yourself has touched that space, that place. So Kirtanam really just means to make glorious, to uplift, to burnish or to shine, to brighten, to celebrate. Sanskrit is one of the earth's root languages. So each one of these syllables has a lot of deep, rich meaning. So when we're in Kirtan, so right now, my little speech about Dr. Strange, that was Kirtan. That was a kind of Kirtan. because I'm vibrating my tongue instrument to create sound of loving expression of glorification of the divine. So in that way, making kachoris can also be kirtanam. She's doing kirtanam with her hands to celebrate and glorify. Everything can become kirtanam. Sri Chaitanya says, Shanadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadai. That when one chants the holy name, one should do so in a humble state of heart and mind. Thinking oneself less than the grass. Here, I'll give you a view of grass. Less than the grass. My mom likes to say that there's not even a singular for grass. Grass is a plural of itself. It's like so humble. This is like, nah. It's like, grass. He's like, no. We're just all grass. We're all grass. It's like, grass, just grass. Grass is grass. 1 is grass, 2 is grass, 10 is grass. So humble, grass. And anyone walks on it and still the grass shines up brightly, in the sun. You step on it, it's okay. I don't mind, in that mood. Grass. We should be like grass. One should be more tolerant than a tree, Lord Chaitanya says. I mean, these are aspirational metaphors, but there's an essential truth. The book, Shel Silverstein's book, The Giving Tree. We live in the bones of trees, right? The tree gives of itself so much. You cut one arm of the tree will give you the other arm. In the heat of the sun, in India, the hottest season, when the hope for rain is like long left everyone's mind, the mango tree rains fruit down. The juiciest, sweetest, the king of all fruits comes in the season where the tree has had the least of everything. Right? In that mood, Sri Chaitanya says, offering all respect unto others and expecting none for oneself. In that frame of mind, heart, consciousness, one can chant the holy name constantly with every cell, every pore in the body becomes like a tiny mouth crying out God's name. This is the encouragement from Sri Chaitanya about kirtan. So you guys are talking about these nine paradise islands of kirtan. So this is some encouragements about chanting.